I'm Amy.
Hi, I'm Summer.
My name is Rebecca.
We are the Wandering Willows, and together we have researched industrial agriculture in the United States using Transformational Sustainability Research Framework. In this video, we illustrate the results of that analysis. And there's a lack of long-term thinking within the business sectors responsible for these practices. The effects of industrial agriculture are chronic disease, polluted ecosystems, and they also affect the economy. So the three pillars of sustainability is what we're going to discuss here. The stakeholders involved when it comes to chronic disease are humans living within that ecosystem. In this video, we're focusing on the United States. It's difficult to measure the real long-term effects of chronic disease as a result of chemicals in the food supply, gas emissions, eutrophications, and GMOs. That's what makes it a long-term problem. Polluted ecosystems, they affect the environment, and stakeholders are all living organisms within that environment. This is a short-term as well as a long-term problem, because in the short term it's damaging, but in the long term it can be destroying. Nitrification, eutrophication, animal wastes, air pollution as a result of methane from livestock production, as well as carbon dioxide emissions from machinery, GMOs, and pesticide resistance are all in that category. Economic industry is affected as well. The stakeholders here are farmers, people, consumers within that ecosystem, the government, and global food corporations as well. That's what makes it so tricky. Healthy options can be more expensive for people in the United States as a result of the dilution of the food chain supply. And this also tests the adaptive capacity for local farmers because they have to try and adapt to that changing and evolving food industry by that limits their options and regulates them as well and controls their food production. So the economy is, in some cases, devastated in local communities. Governments and corporations profit, on the other hand, from these measures and these practices, while people in the United States struggle to eat healthy. And this is a short-term as well as long-term problem.
There are many future scenarios that can impact industrial agriculture positively and negatively. We are going to talk about economic structure, political organization, social policy, polluted ecosystems, and international problems. Our economic structure can create more damaged land during monocrop farming if we continue to follow the negative outcomes. On the positive side of monocrop farming, our economic structure can be benefited through specialization of equipment and crop production will increase. The political organizations like the Sierra Club brings a positive impact into our polluted ecosystems. But with what we are facing now, the involvement of the Sierra Club hasn't been as present as past scenarios have been presented due to the lack of our resources. Our social policy and industrial agriculture has created dead zones because of the exposure to chemicals and toxins in our agricultural fields. These dead zones create a negative impact on our environment and pollute our ecosystems, which leads to no crop growth. With the help of our government, we can see a positive impact on their devotion for change and willingness to recreate life in our ecosystems. Monocrop farming will help ease starvation in local and international settings. But that positive outcome can only be achieved by getting rid of the chemical residues from fertilizers, genetically engineered seeds, and water pollution. Lastly, our ecosystem's health is dependent for change. Climate change has been affected by greenhouse gas and methane emissions. We can see a more positive change and acceptance through adaptive capacity and decreasing the amount of pollution in our air and fields.
And I'll be discussing the TSR framework's question, where do we want to go? What is our vision for sustainable food production? We already know that industrial agriculture is harming the planet and people and needs to be changed. Our vision includes changing our current farming methods to more sustainable, renewable, and cyclic methods. In our vision, the government, businesses, farmers, and consumers all support and benefit from local and organic farms. Instead of large food corporations receiving government subsidies, taxpayer money is given to small and medium-sized organic farms. This means more people will go into farming, and that will create more jobs. Without the reliance on machinery, more people will be hired to work those farms. Chemical inputs such as pesticides and fertilizers are banned and replaced with polyculture farming where livestock and crops are raised on the same farm. Livestock waste and dead leaves are recycled into fertilizer. Trees that bring birds and herbal plants are used for natural pest repellents. Instead of hectares of monoculture crops that leave land unarable, the changeover to polyculture organic farming methods brings biodiversity back to our farmlands, and soil erosion will no longer be a problem. Farmers benefit from the change to sustainable food production because they no longer need to obtain organic certifications, and competition from large agricultural corporations is gone. Food miles, packaging, and storage no longer tack on additional costs, so all people will benefit from lower prices for nutritious organic food. Food deserts are eliminated. Businesses that cater to farms and use their products like local restaurants, butchers, bakers, and farm tool suppliers will thrive in local communities. All stakeholders benefit when we eliminate our fossil fuel dependency. Reducing the country's carbon footprint means a safer, healthier future with less unpredictable, severe climate events. Illnesses and obesity that result from chemicals and processed foods will be dramatically reduced, and everyone saves when healthcare costs go down. Socially, communities will come together at the many local farmers markets to acquire a diversity of food products and to socialize. Coastal communities will benefit economically and socially from the change because eutrophication and chemical leaching into groundwater is no longer a harm to tourism, fishing, and swimming. Communities threatened by drought and water shortages will benefit from ending the industrial agriculture's use of 80% of our fresh water sources. Overall, the planet and people are finding a better quality of life that is more resilient through sustainable agriculture. This is our vision.
When it comes to sustainability and industrial agriculture, it is absolutely vital that we explore all the options we have to achieve the most desirable outcome. Taking a step back to think about how we want to implement the change is detrimental to the success of moving forward to a more sustainable method of farming. Looking at the bigger picture, an important role in getting to an ideal place would be promoting organic farms. If we can create a system that is supported mainly by organic farming, we will see a tremendous change in how farming affects our government. So the big question is, how do we get there? How can we begin the introduction of organic farming to a world that relies so heavily on industrial agriculture? The good news is, in the past 13 years, we have seen a 300% spike in the use of organic farms, according to the USDA. That's a pretty significant number, but there's still more that we can do. Implementing organic farming can be done in a numerous amount of ways, starting with marketing. The more we talk, advertise, and educate people about the benefits of agriculture and organic farming, the more beneficial it will be in the long run. Marketing can be as simple as placing informative ads on the internet as a means to reach both the buyer and the consumer. The higher demand the consumer has, the more likely the buyer is to make sure these items or products are available. This pertains to organic farming and organic products. It is also extremely important that we continue to do studies and research on the benefits of organic farming. Not only because we live in a world that is ever changing, but educating ourselves on important matters like this is so incredibly important. Not only do we want to promote organic farming, but also we can find a system of more sustainable agriculture by reducing the amounts of fertilizers and chemicals we use on plants. We can implement this change by continuously creating more natural farming methods. Trial and error is very important in this field. And lastly, we must work on becoming more financially accessible and stable. Manpower and the time it takes to create an organic farm that is as productive as a farm that utilizes harsh chemicals and monocropping results in less profits. Less profits in organic farming makes it less desirable. Therefore, continuously doing research and increasing our knowledge on both organic farming and industrial agriculture, we'll be able to accurately keep up with the science that goes into these studies. The more studies that we do, the more we can create better profits for organic farming. All in all, industrial agriculture is a very serious wicked problem in relation to sustainability. We are headed in a positive direction, mostly due to social media and people being more concerned than ever with environmental issues, especially with what food we are putting into our bodies. Industrial agriculture may be a wicked problem, but it's not a lost cause. We are on the right path and constantly doing research and staying up to date with the newest studies and news. Founder of the Land Institute, Wes Jackson, believes that within the next 50 decades, some areas caused from industrial agriculture, like soil erosion, will no longer be prevalent. We just have to continue our fight for change.